Hi, everybody. We're here. Gina, I just saw your note. No, I pulled them all out. Last time I looked was about 30 minutes ago. So if you have a question you want, we've got room for it. So please put it in caps and I'll catch it at the end. And yay, happy Solstice Day, everybody. And yeah, the universe is kicking crap out everybody's energy. I saw a couple comments from you about being tired. For me, it woke me up at 7 this morning. And so, what else do you do at 7 in the morning? I went out and had breakfast, uh, just figured out and went down and visited with Hogarth, who is my ley line tree. And he and I had a conversation. And he said, "You better go inside because it's going to start to rain." And sure enough, it's raining. So I'm in the house. And we did get some good questions today. And the solstice actually starts in my time. It's at 9:37 p.m. So I'm Central Daylight. So you figure yourself out from then and see what you got. And I'm hoping to have a few people show up. I had a long debate about doing this today, but I decided I really want to do something for the solstice because Hogarth had said, okay, Hogarth would, he said, you need to hold something. I don't have to always go out to talk to Hogarth. His voice gets into my house. So, anyway, so we're going to start with the questions, and we're going to start with the very first one. This was left over from the chat last week, and she wants to know about a past life. So we're going to do Linda's. I believe it's Linda. I put L Fraser, but I think it's Linda because she asked me today. So I'm going to set the camera to the table. I'm going to start going through the questions. Let me see. You can see how together I've been today. I didn't even get my cloth straight on the table. So anyway, okay. We're going to see about a past life for Linda. And we're going to ask, first of all, were you male or female? Clearly male, because the pendulum swinging all the way over here. Let's see. Was it be 0 to 1000 AD after, common era that I call it now, not AD? No. Was it from 1000 to 2000? Okay. Was it 1000 to 1100 common era? No. Was it 1100 to 1200? Okay, it was at 1200 common era, and you're a male. We're going to kind of see how you line up with your family, and then I'm going to pull a couple of other past life cards. So, okay, you followed some of the same paths in this life because you've got your karma stone there. It's something that's come out of your past life it's made it, the fact you did it before has made it easier. You are in the process of releasing it for your own benefit and to be able to grow. And whatever you were doing was extremely enlightening to you. And let's see if I can swing a stone and see if I can get any more. Any more information you want to give me? Any more space you want to send me to? The reason it showed up in this life was it was unresolved in the past one. So we're going to use my past life cards that are from Brian Weiss and Doreen Virtue. And I understand they're now out, and I think they just have Brian Weiss's name on them because Doreen wanted her name taken off of everything she was part of. So we're going to see what we pull for this. Oh, you were involved Okay, you lived a rural existence, but you were near the ocean. You were by the ocean. So I think you were like in a port town. And I really am seeing um, Cornwall or that kind of area in England for you. But you were a medicine person. You were a guy who was a was considered sort of the medicine man, and in the 1200s that could be the barber because they had sharp instruments and they learned how to bleed you. You also lived on a farm. What was your main place to be? Oh, you were an orphan in that town, and I think you lived on the farm. You didn't live in a city because it said you were surrounded by trees. So I'd say if you want to look for inspirations and stories and History Channel things you can find that might you say, oh, that looks familiar. You're going to be in some place like Cornwall or southwestern Great Britain, and it was a port town. It was a town that had ships coming in and out of it, but it was also everything in those days was rural. Except for London. So, and even London would have been pretty rural. You grew up on a farm, you were orphaned, you worked your way into having medicinal skills, you're surrounded by trees, and what you're looking for in this life is you have some unresolved problems from that existence, and it may have been abandonment issues. Let me see. I'm going to ask if that's what I'm feeling. Yeah, it's abandonment issues, and you're working really hard on that in this life. So I hope that helps. And let's see, we go to the next question. Okay. Rosa Simon wants to know how past lives, she wants past life reading. We'll do the same one. And not obviously not getting the same life, but we're going to start with, are you male or female? Clearly female. You swung way out over here and not so much here. So it's clearly went to the female. And let's see which pull a life out that. Whoops. My poor little amber is just rolling off the board. It's really light. This stone is like nothing at all compared to these. This stone's sort of the same size, but it's really, really heavy. But anyway, the clarity you're looking for was how to be a female in this time. And some of the heritage from that life is clouding you. You brought in some sort of fuzzy karma. You're dealing in this life, you're getting clarity from coping with souls that have been ancestors with you. And you're clearly going to gain in this life from understanding it. So we're going to look at, let's see if we can get a time. I'm going to spread it out a little differently, I think. Okay. Where was this life from 0 to 1,000? Were you born in that time frame? Yeah, okay. So were you born from 0 to 500? No. Were you born from 500 to 1,000? Common era. Okay. Did your family have means? Yes. Okay. And what I'm feeling, I'm going to see this in the cards, but did you go into the church? Yes. You had a strong spiritual calling into the church in the early part of the before the 1000. So okay. You came from a noble family. And you went into the nunnery as much because of your own phobias and your own fears at the time as the other thing. And what else can you tell me? Okay. Your family wanted to marry you off and you didn't want to get married off. So you went into the church and you took great comfort and blessings from that period of time you were in the church, Rosa. And you like the ceremony of the church. I mean, you don't like the church per se or wherever your path was in this life. Let me pull one more. Yeah, it was Catholic. So some of the phobias you have in this life are fears that got set into your mind during that time. But the reason you did it was because your family's going to marry you off to someone you didn't want to go be married to. So you took the age-old way in that period of time of getting out of that by going into the church. And how might that be affecting you now? I think you're really happy with the rise of spiritualism that you feel around you because it feels very comfortable. You're not having a whole lot of stress and strain about accepting that. You kind of like it. And let's see. Good vibrations. What a treat. Okay. I hope so. I would like a reading about the direction that I may move literally in and figuratively in works and relationships in 2024. Let's see. Get my traditional tarot out. And we're going to do a 3-month reading on you because I really don't have time to lay out a whole year for you. But, I can figure out a way I can do it. Okay. I'm going to lay 2 lines. One is, will you have positive moves with work? And the other is within relationships. The first line is going to be work. The second line is going to be relationships. And we'll see. Oops, that was a really crappy shuffle, so we're not going to take that one. We're going to get a good shuffle. That's better. It's not one to write home about, but okay. And I'm going to take your question off the screen so you can see it, so you can see what the answer is. Okay, good vibrations. Here you go. Okay. First line is work. Second line is relationships. Yeah, it's going to get easier at work. You're going to be going back to something you're more familiar with doing. It's like almost like an old job or where you've been up until now recently, you've felt a little out of your league or as if things were going on there that you couldn't control and you weren't confident with it. So I see you working with a man who's very good with words and helping you arrange things. And I think you're going to be happy there. And it's going to be less stressful. So that's good for you. So let's see about change in relationships. Not in the first quarter of the year, but I think later in the year, you are definitely in the winter going to have a change in relationships. And it's not that you're looking for it really in a way, because you find that sometimes getting mucked up with relationships stops you from working as effectively with other parts of your lives. Let's see what this guy's about. It's got to do with the leftovers of an old relationship, but I think you're going to be okay. But I would say you're more likely to have the first real positive change happen with your work situation. And then you got the Ace of Pentacles, which is winter. And by this winter, you're going to have a change in relationships. And I think what I tell you to do now, especially because we're on the solstice and we've got a full moon coming up on the 26th, sit down and think about if you were to have a change in relationship, how would you really want it to change? And you're right, you're sitting on the cusp of a lot of things happening, but the work's going to be the first one. Okay, and then we're going to see the next questioner is. Oh, thank you for being you. Well, I don't know how to be anybody else, so I'm kind of stuck. But I don't feel it's stuck now. I used to think I was stuck with being me. Okay, what do your guides want you to focus on in the next 3 months? Okay. Do I need to use a different deck? Mm-hmm. No, it finally, okay, threaten deck. I said, if you don't start shuffling deck, I'm going to put you up and use a different deck. And so it's decided to shuffle. Okay. Yeah, you get some real changes coming towards you, but that's not a good or necessarily good or bad thing. It's just changes. The tower is, yeah, a lot of big changes, but the next thing right after the tower in the deck is the star. So you can start new goals. And okay. Yeah, you've been hiding out for a while, and they want you to focus on opening yourself up and being more accepting to change. You've kind of closed yourself down with these 3 cards, but something's going to swoop in and change you. And you're just not comfortable with the change right now. You feel a little at sea, but you can manage this boat. You can handle this. I don't think you want the change to be through your work situation, but you need to quit dwelling on what's negative, especially right now. The kind of energy we've got coming in right now, you need to focus on the most positive things you can. I'm going to tell you the trick about tarot is if you don't like what a card says, you can turn it once you become aware of it. And for some reason, you've been focusing more on the negative. This shows a change of real income, and that's a good thing for you. But the other card you need to change is start asking for what you want instead of putting up with what you get. And your guides are telling you to focus away from worrying about what's happened before and focus on what you want to bring in. And like I said, we're on solstice, which is when we start to turn our clocks back and get to be more in a more positive way, even though it's the cold part of winter, depending on where you are. And you're going to be breaking out of. That's what your guides want you to do. They want you to break out of hiding and holding back. You can turn him around too, which is to come up with new enterprises, but that's hopes and fears. So he's kind of both ways. But the big cards for you is, yes, you've been locked in kind of a negative point of view. You need to break out of it and quit crying over spilt milk and move on. So I hope that's helpful for you with your guides, but I really think that's very much what they wanted you to hear. Next person. Okay. Thank you for the blue candles. Oh yes, this lady built a tower of little blue candles that are the electric ones. And then, okay, I think I put the second half. Okay. She's been working every day until Christmas Eve. It brought her much joy to go through this ritual with us, and she's just enjoying listening while she works. Now, this is Tammy's question. Tammy, I'm sorry about your mother passing away, but I know that there's been problems there for a long time. 10 days before the 2-year anniversary of my dad's death, I was just wondering if there's any guidance from the universe about this. And I'm glad you sent this to me because I got out my talking to heaven cards, and I'm going to pull a card from you about a message from your mother today. And I think she's ready to talk to you. That's the first thing I heard when I saw your question was, get those cards out, get her a message. So okay. Okay. And I didn't get a whole lot of questions today. So if you want to type them in caps in the chat, you got a good chance of getting it read. And if I don't get to it for some reason today, I'm starting to save them up and I'm reading them the next time I read. So let's see what's happening. What your mom wants to say to you, Tammy. Oh, she says you have nothing to feel guilty about. And how that translates is you have nothing to feel guilty about. Sweetheart, I see you're torturing yourself with questions like, what if? Concerning my life, my health, my passing. You're wondering whether you could have intervened so that it would have been still be in my physical body. I'm standing right next to you right now, and I'm trying to soothe you and take away those thoughts. It's so important that you understand that you had done nothing wrong, and my physical passing was divinely timed. And that's that you couldn't have done anything to change that. Please don't burden yourself with guilt any longer. Guilt is a complete waste of your earthly time, which is meant that you should use your time for service and love. Guilt doesn't undo anything. I have forgiven myself for everything that I think I did and didn't do. But in the end, I learned that everything is already forgiven. And I pray that you will find the same forgiveness for yourself because you are much loved and understood. She understands the nature of how your relationship works now. I hope that gives you some ease, Tammy. And now we're going to go to the comments and see. I already had one. Okay. Okay. Gina M. I was wondering if after the solstice today, would brightness come towards me? So we're going to lay some cards and see. We'll see not only where the brightness come from. I really think it will. I think this solstice is going to take a lot of pressure off all of us. And I looked up some stuff about solstice this morning while I was listening to medieval Christmas carols, one of my things I like. And so I will talk to you all when I finish these couple questions about my impressions of this solstice. Like I said, I went out and talked to Hogarth about it. And I don't know if you know this, but when the ley lines go straight during the solstices and the equinoxes, and the other thing that happens is in the last few years, they've gotten wider. And when I say wider, not just a little bit wider, 3 and 4 and 5 times wider. Because the energy is rushing around the planet for us. So here's your question. Oh, this is good. This is saying yes. Brightness is going to come towards you because you're going to let go of some grief. You're going to quit crying over spilt milk. You are actually going to meet with some people who you're going to have a lot of companionable feelings about. You're learning how to speak for yourself and you're learning to be less defensive. All of that's sort of happening around you right now. And that's part of this solstice and this full moon in Cancer is to let go. And you've got new people are going to be coming into your life. Your part of this is to not say, oh, well, I've met people before and it didn't work out. You have to face it without putting other burdens on it and let go of how you've dealt with things in the past. And that's how you're going to find some brightness, Gina. And I hope that helps. Oh, the lady's watching us in Germany. She's here for the holidays. Glad you fit me to your travel. I toured Germany when I was in high school with a choir. We sang all over lots of music festivals and military bases. Okay. 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 I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I found out about solstices. Well, I know a lot about them. It's the darkest day of the year, but we have to realize we need to go through those darker points so that we can see the light more brightly. And in the winter, we actually sometimes act out in our own lives what plants do. And there are certain plants that won't bloom unless they go through the cold of winter, unless they go through some things. I think they're called peonies. And I know when I was growing up in the Midwest, those little suckers grew like crazy. But I came to the South and I didn't see very many. And then occasionally I'd see a yard with some in it. And when I talked to the people that owned those yards, they would have to come out a couple times when it got cold, coolish, not like freezing, but they throw big bags of ice on the peony bushes. And if they did that, their peonies would bloom because there's something about we need to go through some of those colder, darker times so that we can really bloom. And I think of all the things that I read through, and I read through several different articles on the solstice, our hearts burn warm in this winter time, and it offers us opportunities to grow differently. And that's what my message would be to people on the solstice today. Um, you can take time. If you don't have to journal, you don't have to do anything. You can just daydream, or you can start playing board games or doing. I do puzzles a lot in the winter. I like putting the pieces together, and I think it's just that's what you need to be aware of. Is it's a time to change and grow and try different things. Okay. I've suffered from abandonment for most of my life. Is the karma finally finished? Okay, let's see. Miss Orchid, is your is the karma you've been fighting with finally pushing away and allowing you new kind of ways of feeling spiritually? Okay, it's telling me that some of the abandonment that you have now is just delusional because you felt that for so long, and something's going on around your job and it's kind of screwed up in a mess. But you're not finished yet. And one of the things that you're really good at is uh, coloring within the lines. You're good at creating order for yourself, and you are finding balance. So I would say, overall, this is saying yes, that karma's gone, but you have to really accept that, Miss Orchid, and go with it. Um, uh, so you can work with that and see how you feel about it, because some of the ways you're feeling now is because it's always been that way. So you just need to know you're coming into a bright new time, and it's going to be one where you're going to be able to shine because you're going to be put in a place with much more order. I think a lot of your feeling of being abandoned was because so much of your life had chaos around it. And it's really hard to feel like you're part of a group if everything's very chaotic. Okay. I'm going to go down and try to mark these questions because we're getting a whole bunch of them. And I'm going to read for an hour, kids, and then I'm going to. Okay. And Linda Fraser said that she that the things I said to her rang for her. They rang a bell for her, and she's been going to England and is intending to go some more. So. Okay. Okay. No more questions. The last one I'm going to do is CHAE. And I'm not sure how to say that, but. And, okay. I can't tell you guys how much easier it makes it if you put these in caps, but what did I do in my past life to help others? I'm just going to pull past life cards for that. Because we're at half an hour, and I got about half an hour worth of questions picked out. So, thank you, Book Bewitched. I'm looking for solstice blessings today. Tonight's the last of the 9 candles, and it's going to be with Andre Carr. And we've already taped it, and when I'm finished with this show, I'm going to set my 9 candles to finish burning. So, what did I do in my past life to help others? Oh, you're in a karmic relationship with someone you were with, and you worked in health, and you worked through a church or a religiously based health organization, and that's what you did to help others. And you've always felt drawn to situations where you could help people. You have a lot of karmic relationships, and you're involved with someone now who pulls you into that world, and we're going to see about this. Oh, even when you were in your Native American, you were in the Native American healing part when the trains, that would be in the 1860s, when they built the cross-country railroad. And you've always been marked by people for your wisdom. So that's how you've helped people. You've used your wisdom and your knowledge to work with energy to help them find health. And you've always had people with you who were part of that progress from before. So that's good. That's a good one. Okay. Any past lives for me in England or what is now the UK? Yeah, I think you did it right to word it UK, because what I saw was Scotland. I got that feeling. And I had a Scottish grandfather. Well, he was a step grandfather, but he was from Edinburgh, and the town that I used to visit as a child in Canada, they put on the tartans and the bagpipes and everything. I love bagpipes. I know some people don't, but I love them. But let's see what Carolyn's got for a past life. You were in the arts up there, and what did you do? You helped finance the arts, and you also got the wisdom card. So I think you were the part life I see you having in what's now the UK. You were up in Scotland during the Victorian times when they were starting to, and you may have been involved with the authors, because they had a lot of really incredible authors keeping the Celtic things going. You had the money to help them. That doesn't mean you weren't a poet, but you had the wisdom to know how to use your money to promote people in the arts. And if you ever go to Edinburgh, you're going to feel right at home. But I think you mean past held for you. What the past held to teach me. Okay. I'm going to do it quick. We're going to do the first line is going to be the lessons from the solstice. The second line, Book Bewitched, will be a quick and dirty on kind of see if we can get an overarching theme that you need to learn in this life. If we don't, we'll put out the past life cards and see how that works. Okay. Solstice first. Oh, you're having an awakening of your intuition and a whole lot of things. Oh boy, you got great stuff coming up from you. The solstice is really breaking out part of your spiritual development. It's not that you've been ignoring it, but it's really kicking in the door and telling you where it wants to be. You're giving up all the illusions and delusions. You're going to live very completely with the energies that you're getting right now. You have the strength to do this, and you're going to feel very comfortable doing it. That is just a marvelous solstice reading. Really, just go sit in a corner if you have to, Book Bewitched, and talk to yourself. And you're gonna give yourself all the answers you need. But what the past was supposed to be teaching you. Okay, what the past was teaching you is to be your full self and to match yourself up with people who also had similar energies and powers, and that you don't have to work your fingers to the bone to make this work. If you just relax, it will come in. You're going to be meeting a lot of people who are really into this with you, and a lot of your old defenses that you've put up are going away. And that's a really great reading. I think the solstice is going to be wonderful for people. And the cards are saying it is. It's not just that Nancy says. Okay, Debbie. See what I can get out of the simple cards and then. Okay. Let's see. Debbie Morgan. I love a past life reading. Can you give me 5 cards to give me her past life reading for Debbie Morgan? You're a scribe or a writer. Oh, you have a lot of galactic energy from your past. You're always, you were in the Greco-Roman times too. Okay. And you've learned a great deal, if not from the children in this life, from children in past lives. You were a Greco-Roman. You traveled quite a bit during that time on this planet, but you've also been a galactic traveler. And let's see. I'm going to see if I can get if you're male or female. I can do that with the cards in the way. They don't care. I know what it's supposed to be. Okay. Was Debbie male or female when she was a scribe? You're definitely a male. So if you have dreams of being a male and doing that sort of things, this I'm going to read. Okay, it's my interpretation of baby, the one I just flashed on. Is it true? Yeah. You were recognized from birth almost in this time of the Greco-Romans for your gifts. I mean, they just sort of saw that you glowed and that you were special. And you've always kind of, when you've put yourself in the position of being the scribe or being the writer, your life's gone along better. But you've had some really important galactic interventions in this life that has built off of that life. That's interesting, Debbie. So if you start thinking or reading about Greco-Roman times, you'll get some insights. Okay. Oh, Vicky, do I see a past life for you in London? And I take it you mean Canada. I take it you mean England, not London, Ontario. That's where my parents were from. And I think now that whole area is called Hamilton because it all grew together. Okay, did Vicky in a past life in London? What do we see coming from that for her? You got phobias too. It's trust and faith. And oh, you were in a very battle-worn time in London, but you're a nurse or a doctor there. You had trust and faith and you struggled through. This is World War II. Is this World War II? Yeah, this is World War II. You had a past life in London, and I think you died there because, but you were a healer. And I know it says medicine man and woman, but when I read these cards, to me, that means a healer, no matter which culture you came out of. Okay. Oh, Vicky, she's one of my gardeners. You can't learn your garden unless you read with it. Oh, but she does have a pendulum. You can use that to look at this stuff. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out which past life is affecting Karen right now. You know, there's a rumor that with these ascension changes we're going through, that we won't have karma soon. We won't have to be answering to karma anymore. It's not going to be leading us like some people said. I was told that by an Akashic Records person not quite 3 years ago, that it was eventually going to shift away. And then I heard a lot of people talking about during this time of blue light, the changes we're going through, that a lot of the karma we've carried around with us is going away. So let's see. What past life would be affecting her now? Gee, what fun past lives you had. Spouses in. Okay, we're gonna put a fifth one up. Okay, what fun. You've been in a lot of wars and battles, so you tend to gear yourself up for that to be what's going on. You've also been in imprisonment and slavery, and I think that's some of what's going on in the world, where people are being prejudged and cast into certain roles that they maybe are not who they should be. That's sort of bothering you. It says that you've always been happier when you've been with someone that you could trust. But on the other hand, you're very high on your own as a high priestess, and you rely a lot on karmic relationships. So I'm going to ask, are karmic relationships coming towards Karen right now? Yes. And are you listening too much to the karma from the past about the imprisonment and slavery? Not so much. You're aware of it. You feel yourself being drawn toward it. Okay. So let's see. Does that give you? This may have been all the way back. This may have been in the Civil War era. I don't know where you live, Karen. I should, because I've spoken with you. But if you live in the South somewhere and you live near a battlefield, don't go there. It's not what we would hope it would be. Will the relationship with my son be healed? And when? I know timing. No, timing isn't just not easy. Timing is virtually impossible. I'd rather read you pixie dust. I'm going to do it real quickly for you, and I'm going to throw you in and come in next time. I don't have my garden out. When I have my my real oracle garden out, I can do timing better. But and it's a good shuffle. I'm going to do a Celtic cross and see if I can do something, okay? Those are positive cards as the first one's coming in. What's your out card? Yeah, that's an end to separation and pain. I haven't gotten a date card on it yet, but I don't feel it's too far in the future because I think both of you really kind of want it. He's in a very uncomfortable place, and he's put you in a very uncomfortable place. But I think you guys are going to bury the hatchet. And this is a card of alienation. It's the Five of Pentacles. And that's in hopes and fears. And I think it's you both are afraid this is going to go on way, way longer than you think. Both of you are in an argument within your heart and your mind about rebuilding this, but you haven't found the balance to do it yet. But these cards tell me, these sets of cards tell me you're working on it in your heart, and so is he. Is this him working on it? Yep. Things are going on around him you don't know about that are bringing him around more to wanting to heal this. So, alienation in families is difficult, to say the least. Okay. Man, okay. Let's see, man, who guides have messages for me? We'll see. They'll say yes, and then they won't tell me what they are. Isn't that tacky? No, we're not going to do that. Man, who? What message do your guides have for you today? Balance. You're feeling very uncomfortable. It has a message, but you're still feeling so out of sorts. It's having a hard time getting through to you. Keep working on what you've been working on, and that will help clear it up. And it has to do something from a masculine energy. But this shows that you're well on your way to your own balance and temperance. So the guides are saying be patient, and they're not going to give you all the clues you need. You have the power to figure this out on your own. Okay. Do my guides have any messages for me about vibrations that I feel continually? Okay. What do your guides want you to know about these messages that are going on around Cactus City? There's a lot of messages just floating around a lot of people. Okay. Yes, they're telling you that it's time to bury the hatchet and quit carrying that around, that you in the past have sort of obsessed on some things, and that's going away. Matter of fact, you're completing a cycle in your life, which is going to make it much more, make it much easier for you to be with people that are like family. And it's because you're walking away from the battles. You used to think, I've got to defend myself. I have to have the last word. You don't have to have the last word. You're learning that lesson and you're moving on. That's a really positive place for you to be, Cactus Smithy. Beatrice feels like she's lost her way. And so I'm going to ask if you're on the right trail to going back. And I'm going to do that with the pendulum first, and then we'll see. Is Beatrice on her way back after one? Yes, very, very, very strongly. It says, so I'm going to see where it says you're headed. I'm getting a flash, Beatrice, and I'm going to see what the cards say. But what I hear is you don't need to find your way back. You need to find your way forward. But we'll see what's going to say. Not losing your way. Yeah, you need to move forward. You've got, this is a total yes. This is a total yes. And this is letting go of your obsessive behavior at times, your OCD. That's okay. I'm OCD too. And I just, when I start to fixate on something, I need to let it go. But you've got all the stuff that says you're moving in such a new, bright, positive path. You don't even need to think about it. You don't need to find your way back to where you used to be. That was this card. You need to turn this one, not turn that on. But you've got yourself developing your own voice, learning how to speak, learning how to stand up for your own rights. You've got the Sun, which is the best card in the deck. This is a yes, 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 yes. You're finding your own way in your own world with your own new set of rules. And this is a great time. I mean, this full moon, girl, you better be out there writing out a list of things the way you want them to go for you. And don't look back. Don't look back. That's what I kept hearing when I was shuffling the cards. Beatrice doesn't need to look back. She needs to move forward. Back isn't, you may think some of back was a good thing, but it wasn't. Okay. Okay. And this is my last one for the upcoming spring. Okay. What's the message overall for her for the upcoming spring? I know what I'm going to use. I'm going to use these Angels and Auras card. I really like them. The interesting things is these cards can be read in reverse too. And they're the only oracle cards I've ever had that the authors had reverse meanings attached to them. So what's your message for the upcoming spring? Evolution. Beautiful card. And you can see she's standing there. And the keywords to evolution are empowerment, transformation, protection, and preparedness. You're going to have a wonderful spring. And look at all that lovely green color. I think your heart's going to open up this spring. And evolution is, they all have numbers. It's got a little book with it. Let's see. 23. I use the little books because the people who've developed these cards have looked at these images and spent a whole lot of time thinking about it. And until I get really, really familiar with the deck, I follow the book. Some people don't even read the books. They throw them away. I can't imagine. This card means true inner strength. You may have recently been caught off guard by changes in your life that weren't anticipated, but you have what it takes to handle everything. It may also be that these changes that you expected or even initiated began to play out finally in your life. Sometimes You choose change. Emotional effects of that can be more than you envisioned. It's like, yeah, it's like the dog that caught the car. I really wanted my life to change, and I've changed it. What do I do with it? The transition may cause others around you to feel a little uncertain and uncomfortable, but your path is the one that matters for you here. You can only confront others so much, and then you have to be true to yourself. So whatever you're changing to do, it's going to be absolutely marvelous for you. I'm really glad I chose to look at that deck, because I think that's a lot cleaner question for you. Your message for the upcoming spring is to follow your own heart, listen to your heart, develop your whole heart foundation. Now let's see what we got. That was the last one. Thank you, Bernie girl. And Sharon, I will write down the other ones, but it is now 4 minutes away from me having been speaking for an hour. And oh, Diva. Okay, I'm going to show this question just because it's not going to make much sense in a week. Is Santa Claus real? Santa Claus is an energy that lives in our hearts. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because this Christmas, due to the fact my children are growing up, I was going to be on my own. And then Santa swooped in and found an old friend of mine that I hadn't really seen in years. She was also going to be on her own and posted it on Facebook, which is very brave for her, because she's not the sort to do that sort of thing. So we're going to meet at her house, which is already done up for Christmas, and my house is not done up for Christmas. I get to go over there and enjoy seafood chowder with her on Christmas Day. So yeah, I think Santa's real. I think Santa brought me that person to be there this time. And let's see what else we got. I'm going to take all of there's like 3 more questions in here. And I will write those down, and it might be on the 26th, which would be, because usually I try to do a show on Tuesdays, but we'll see how I'm feeling. Because I'm moving all of my normal Christmas rituals to between Christmas and New Year's, because my kids are traveling. Anyway, thank you to everyone, and thank you for those who support the channel. And I really have enjoyed spending this time with you. Let me see if I can change it back so I can wave bye. Bye, everybody. You have a good Christmas and a good solstice. And I have Andre Carr on at 7 o'clock tonight. And then I'm going to sort of take a little time off, kind of, and just take care of myself, which is, I'm not an ace at doing. I mean, I tell people to do that all the time, but I don't. So you take care, and I will see you next week. And if I don't see you next week, I'll see you in 2024, which ought to be a fun year. Talk to you later. Bye.